Right, Liverpool just lost 4-2, but don't worry, I'm not here to banter or anything like that. It is pre-season. Yeah, we're going to have our laughs, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, it's just pre-season, isn't it? Anywho, I'm going to go through the whole match as much as I can. You know, first half was pretty much the focus. I'm not really going to talk about the second half as much, just little bits and bobs, but there's a big elephant in the room in what's needed, and that's the centre-backs. But before you do anything, smash the likes, subscribe if you're brand new. Brilliant if you can do so. I'm going to do many of these and break down the game as much as possible, very honestly. So let's get cracked into it, right? Or right into it, cracked into it, whatever. That sounds a bit mad. In the first half, brilliant game, end to end. You know, Milan getting onto the ball a little bit more than I thought they would after a certain time. And of course, Liverpool doing what they can. You know, first game of pre-season, you know, you had behind closed door type games like Preston. And I thought it was really impressive. And there was a few players that I really liked. I'm not going to name them now, and I'm going to get into it. So first one is, yeah, you know what? Next season's going to be very long. If Wirtz is playing like that, the way he gets into spaces and picks up the ball and lays it off, yeah. And he's not even a striker. He's playing more of like a false nine, but you can see the link up with Salah and what he was providing for the central midfielders, even just dropping deep. The second player is that young Rio. I don't know how to say his last name. Nyoma, I think. If that's how you say his name. If there's anyone, I remember checking, he's of Nigerian descent. So if we got any Nigerians or anyone that's familiar, let me know how to say it correctly. He was really full of energy. You know, when you watch a young player, that's exactly what you want. You know, we had a Max Dowman playing the other day for Arsenal against AC Milan, and he looks just head above shoulders. He's a wicked player. You got different kind of winger in terms of Rio, but you could see he's ready. He's very young. Nyoni, when he came on, for me, again, filled a little bit of what Gravenberch obviously had to go centre back, but bar that, I thought he's such a glider. He's got a big future ahead of him, and he just needs to become a little bit more disciplined in his play. So yeah, I thought him, and the other one who really stood out to me out of most of these was Harvey Elliott. Oh my word. Yeah, Harvey Elliott's brilliant. he plays like a mature player. Like, he's wicked. I don't know what his future is saying, but by the looks of things, might be on his way out of Liverpool. Maybe this is his time. If he's not going to get a game, you know, with Wirtz in front of him, maybe Szoboszlai as well, then there we are. First half, I just thought it's just about fitness. But then you kind of pick up little bits of patterns and how Liverpool want to do things. And I don't really see much too dissimilar in terms of last season. I would say the one thing that was a little bit different was, of course, playing with a false nine. The attacking mid area was quite vacant. I saw like more of a 4-3-3. If anything, you know, Szoboszlai playing off the left a little bit more. Harvey Elliott was playing really central, like trying to dictate play. But that's because Tyler Morton had to come off. So maybe I'm looking into things a little bit too different. But the way Salah and Wirtz were linking up, so that's who I'm going to talk about, that little combination there first, tells me just a little taste of what we're going to see. You know, sometimes Salah took the extra little touch. I think Wirtz as well, just eye of the needle passes. That's going to be such a common thing. You know, we haven't even seen the Ekatikes come in the door, let alone Isak. So you can imagine what quality would have, what quality will have as an effect when you put that on top of the quality already. Trying to tackle that young man it seems quite impossible from what I was seeing. You know, it's his way to the kind of, I don't know, he does this thing, he walks, right? And there was another player that was quite like this. He walks, maybe a little bit of Mesut Ozil, Dimitar Berbatov, but like they just walk, and then before you know it, they pounce. Like, you can't, it's like defenders or defensive players or whoever's trying to track kind of lose that little bit of focus. And before you know it, he's found himself walking into a pocket, and then he's just got the ball. He's basically give and go. You know, unlucky to not even get a goal today, in my opinion. I thought it was definitely a more fit Milan compared to what we saw against Arsenal. You know, very much, I would say a lot more, with Milan today, they were a lot more positive, right? Compared to the Arsenal game, they were a lot more negative. Now, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a couple of Arsenal fans in there saying that, no, that's because we made them like that. I actually agree to an extent. I do believe so. You work them down their flanks and you push them back into a 5-4-1. But this Milan was a little bit more expansive, a little bit more fit. Having obviously Maignan in goal, of course having Josef Fofana, Ruben Loftus-Cheek having a really good spell as well. Yeah, it was good. It was a good battle, I must admit. I really enjoyed that. It was very much back to front. The other one, again, Pavlovic is having an awful time against young kids, isn't he? He played Salamaker. You know what? Salamaker's it felt like he had a bit more of the right wing back. He had a bit more of a point to prove. But Rio just kept running and running and running at this geezer. Honestly, he's not having a nice time. Because last week, not only did he get ripped up by Saka, he was tearing him a new one. The other young kid called Max Naumann, he's like 15 years of age, was also giving him a hard time until obviously he got replaced. Same thing with Rio. I thought, you know what? Rio he had a couple runs. It didn't mount to much, but I know this as being a kind of a defensive player in them areas is when you got a confident young player or a confident player in general, when they're going to keep running at you, trust me that third or fourth time, they are going to keep doing it and there's going to be some success at some point. Hence, obviously, Szoboszlai, what a goal. I don't understand how we've not seen more of that. That was so effortless. Need to see more of that. But if it wasn't for Rio's, application to attacking and being fearless, then that goal would never have happened, of course. And you might find that a lot of Liverpool, goals could be in that kind of situation, depending on obviously how, Liverpool's left winger may be. Gakpo, I thought had a good second half. He was, again, you can just see he's just the best player on that pit, the best second. Well, when it comes to Liverpool's whole, whoever they deployed, Gakpo was just much better than everyone else on the Liverpool side. But Rio, I just feel like, yeah, he's so young, isn't he? Like, I remember, is he also like 15 or 16? He's basically doing GCSEs, if I'm correct. Might be a little bit older, I'm not too sure. But that kid has got something. Definitely a special something. Trey and Nyoni needs to, I thought, when he got the ball, coming up against like Josef Fofana, especially, I thought second half was a little bit different because it was very much unbalanced. But coming up against the likes of Fofana, he's an absolute brick house. You've also got Ruben Loftus-Cheek and even Richie. Richie's, last game he was awful. This game he was much better fitness, right? There was a couple moments where Nyoni was just very much glided past him. And you got to think, this kid's young. He's like 17, 18. I'm sure if you're going to do that against some of the better centre mids out there available, you're going to be all right as a footballer in the future. So, yeah, I thought that Harvey Elliott, can't get close to him. He's becoming just a better player year by year, isn't he? So you're going to fetch a nice fee if he is to leave. I mean, I'm at the part where it's like, I used to never really rate Harvey Elliott. And then every year that goes on, last few years especially, last couple of years, shall I say, it's like every year you could just see this guy getting better and better and better. If you sell him for anything less than 40 million, I think it's an absolute robbery. That's honestly, I don't see how a player like that goes for anything less than 40 million in this kind of current market. When you're hearing like McAtee's going for, I don't know, 30 millions, 25 maybe now, you got to think, well, but he's much better than that guy. Look at it, even England under 21s, look what Harvey Elliott was doing. He was pretty much saviour material. So yeah, I thought that was definitely the notable ones. And also Stevenson, I don't want to miss him out. In the first half of all, you know what, who's this guy? I remember him from last pre-season, Stevenson. He wasn't exactly the one I look at and think, oh, I like, I'm not really noticing him. But he had some good link-ups. Did anyone see the passes he was making as well? Like into Salah, into Wirtz. He was causing a ruckus. They couldn't pick up on him. No chance. I don't know what the left wing back was called, right? But you had Tomori and that Tor. He's quality, by the way. When it coming out to defend him, it was not that easy. I thought he's definitely someone. I think he's about 22. If he's 22, he might be even younger than that. But I thought he was definitely someone to look at for. And thought, I felt like I saw Conor Bradley there a little bit. So yeah, I feel like he's definitely got a little something. But the other part with him, which I felt kind of sorry, and this is where I'm not feeling sorry like that, but in terms of Liverpool overall, so I'm going to mix this with the second half now and a little bit of the first half, aka like Leao's goal, the other goals, is that whenever they did break down the left-hand side, like there was just no centre-backs. You got likes of Gravenberch playing centre-back. In the second half, you got Tsimikas playing centre-back. Joe Gomez just got injured. And I know there's a lot to come in. Like Luis Diaz couldn't play, Nunes couldn't play, Ekitike's not there. If Isak's to join, of course he's not there. But the way I'm looking at it is thinking, oh, you lot need some centre backs, man. I know you're linked with that young Cresswell from Toulouse, the one that used to play for who was it, Leeds, and he's really good dominantly in the air, which is quite like Kanate and the likes of Van Dijk. But you're gonna need a couple centre backs. If Joe Gomez has done his Achilles, if it goes into the season and one of them two don't recover, so I feel like bar this Isak deal, and I don't think it's gonna do much, but yeah, you definitely need to go pick up 2 centre backs pronto, and I think you will. But it goes to show, if you don't have that defensive cover, someone that's gonna command the line a little bit, or let alone just know what they're doing, then I just don't see how that's gonna be a successful campaign. But knowing Liverpool right now, I'm pretty sure they're working on it. Whether that's Mark Gahey, Cresswell, or anybody else that they're linked with, you lot are linked with, I don't know. But second half was just a little bit everywhere. No one really knew, like Curtis Jones, non-existent. Endo, it's all right. Tyler Moore, when he come on, that pass he put into Gakpo was delicious. I don't know what happened with him. I reckon he's got the shits. Like, wait, he didn't come off because of injury. He just come back on. Gakpo was one that I thought, yeah, you know what? He's definitely got... He's just Gakpo, isn't he? And then, yeah, obviously, I don't really need to mention the rest of the crew. You know, Frimpong, again, kind of finding it difficult to link up with a couple players. But that's because I find the unbalance of all of it was just... It wasn't helpful to no player. You know, you need your centre back. You're going to need someone that's able to cover. Connor Bradley coming on as well, kind of taking up the similar spaces to where Frimpong wanted to be. So I find that kind of a bit like of a clash. But then over time, it's pre-season. Fitness, get to know each other, go on. Simple. You're going to have a banner, but it's not. I thought it's still promising regardless. You know, like a lot of them goals were avoidable. Pretty much all of them were breaks. You know, Milan worked a couple of goals. Okafor scored a beautiful goal. That combination down the right-hand side that they had, and Okafor just like pretty much just, I don't know if it was on a half volley or whoever crossed that in. I can't remember who's on the right-hand side, but it might have been Chukwueze. But regardless, yeah, good game. On to the next one, isn't it? So anyway, smash the likes, subscribe. Don't feel too down if you do. And then here we are. Next one in a bit.